Alright guys, so we're going to do this foldable that looks like this. This is one side, and this is what the back side looks like. So all I'm going to do is, if you see on this side, there's this dotted line here. I'm just going to fold it over like this. Okay, so fold it over like this now. Alright, so after you've folded it, notice on this front flap, there's another really light dotted line right here. Go ahead and cut that to where it folds up, but don't cut all the way through on both sheets, okay? Just this front sheet, cut right there. Alright, so when you're done folding it, it should look something like this, where you can lift it up and lift it up. Alright, now we're going to go through and fill out the inside of it. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we are going to look under the tab where it has writing equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, now hopefully you remember slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, and the reason they call it slope-intercept form is because the m is the slope and then the b is the y-intercept. Okay, so the portion under the flap looks like this, and this kind of walks you through how to do it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find the slope. Okay, now the slope formula, we always use m to talk about the slope. Slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Some of you guys learned it as rise over run, where you can just count the boxes. That works too. But you have to know the slope. So after you find the slope, you have to ask yourself whether or not you know your y-intercept. If you do, you're going to go over here, okay? And then just write it in y equals mx plus b. You have the slope, you have the y-intercept, plug it in, there you go. Okay? If you don't, then we have to go through this process here, and we have to solve for b. All right, so let's look at this example. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to find the slope. All right, so we have 2 points here. Okay, so this could be our x coordinate of point 1, y coordinate of point 1, x coordinate of point 2, y coordinate of point 2. Now the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so if I simplify this, my y2 is 10. So 10 minus my y1 is 4, over my x2 is 3, minus my x1 is 1. So if I simplify this, this is 6 over 2, which is just 3. Okay, so I have 3 as my slope. All right, so do you know the y-intercept? Well, no, we don't. This isn't graph, so we can't see it. We don't have a coordinate that's 0 something, so we don't know our y-intercept. So that means we're going to have to work a little bit harder. Okay, we know the formula we want to put in is y equals mx plus b. Okay, now you can pick either one of these points. It doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. Let's pick the 1, 4 just because they're lower numbers, and lower numbers are sometimes easier to work with. Okay, so I know everything except the b in here, so I'm going to find the b, and then we're going to write it in slope-intercept form. Okay, so if I look at this, this is my x, this is my y, and this is my m. I don't know my b, but I can find it. Okay, so I'm just going to substitute each one of these 3 in for the correct variable here. So y equals, so my y is 4. So I'm going to say 4 equals, my m is 3, my x is 1, so times 1, plus b, which I don't know. Okay, so now it's just simple algebra. So 4 equals 3 times 1 is 3 plus b. To solve for b, I subtract 3 on both sides. I get 1 equals b. Okay, so now I have my b and now I have my m, so I can write it in y equals mx plus b form, and that would be y equals, my m is 3, x plus my b is 1. So this would be one of the 2 ways that you can solve this All right, so the other way you can write a formula is using the point slope form. Now this is generally the way that I prefer to do it, and for no matter other than just this is the way I learned it when I was growing up. That doesn't mean that you have to prefer it this way and use it this way. You could use either way, so don't think that you have to use it this way just because it's my preference. But when we use point slope form, all we have to do is know the formula. So my formula is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. And since you guys get to use your interactive student notebook, you don't even need to memorize this formula, because if you write it down here, which you definitely should, you'll have it. All right, so if I open this flap, I kind of see the flow that we need to make this successful. So the first thing we do is find the slope. Okay, now once again, my slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, I choose one point, and I could choose either point. Generally, you'll be given 2 points. I can choose either point to plug in for x1 and y1. Okay, notice these subscripts here, not x and y, but x1 and y1. Okay, so after I have my m, my x1, and my y1, I'm going to plug it in to this formula here, which is the same formula I just did. And then we're going to simplify it to where it's in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, I know that seemed like a lot, but we're going to go through an example and kind of see how it works. All right, so here's an example. I have the point 1, 4 and the point 3, 10. Now, if you notice, these are the same exact points as what I did in the example before. We're just going about finding the equation of the line a different way. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to find the slope. I'm going to write it out here because it's hard to write on this tablet, guys. So my slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and if I look and I label these, here's like x coordinate of point 1, y coordinate of point 1, x coordinate of point 2, y coordinate of point 2. Okay, so my y2 is 10 minus my y1 is 1. Nope, my y1 is 4, sorry. 10 minus 4 over my x2 is 3. My x1 is 1. So 10 minus 4 is 6 over 2. I reduce that. That is 3. So my slope is 3. All right. Now you can go back up here and you can choose any point you want. It doesn't matter which one. I prefer to choose the one with the lower numbers just because, I don't know, because I do. So I'm going to choose 0.14. Okay, and if I choose 1, 4, that means my 1 is my x1, my y is my y1. Okay, so I'm going to plug this 3, x1, and y1 into this formula. When I do, I get y minus my y1 is 4 equals my m is over here. That was 3. It's what I found first. Parentheses x minus my x1 is 1. Okay, now I can just simplify it. So y minus 4 equals, guys, I have to distribute this 3 through, equals 3x minus 3. And then to get it in the right form, I can add 4 to both sides. I get y equals 3x plus 1. Okay, so totally different process, but if I go back to my other example, I get the same exact end result. Okay, so you can choose and you can do whichever way you prefer, but pick a way and try to stick with it because just like anything else, the more you do, the easier it'll get.